Welcome back to Chow Time Pods. Your host, Red. You got videos today from AlphaAnthem.
It really be your own people, dude. My 16-year-old just found out that his dad isn't his real dad anymore because of my bitter-ass sister. She claims it's for his own good. But in what way is that for his own good? When I found out I was pregnant with my son, I made the logical choice to pick the father that made the most money. His real dad was working at McDonald's for like $8.25 an hour. I don't want that as a man. He was just one of my and that was that.
And this is again why you get DNA tests and you wrap up. Stop blasting in women.
I got pregnant, and so I picked the richer dad. And although the richer dad didn't take care of him and hasn't been around, he does pay child support, and he pays a lot, and it pays for a majority of my rent. Well, my sister never liked that,
Child
and I
support
finally
pays for my rent.
let her have my son, thinking I could trust the bitch. And she tells my son and confides in him that his dad isn't his real dad. And now he went and found his real dad behind my back with my sister. And they are all trying to fight and get my son taken away from me. My son doesn't want to live in my house. We haven't talked in 3 days. I think it's the most miserable thing a person can ever do is...
Really? What you did wasn't the most miserable thing, but what your sister did to correct your miserable thing was. Got it.
Doing some shit like that. I picked the right choice. Now who's going to pay my bills now? Because now they also told that the guy that's been on child support all these years, and he's trying to come after me and sue me for all the money he's been paying. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I didn't do anything wrong here.
This story isn't just messy, it's a full-spectrum wrecking ball that took out 3 men and a kid while she keeps narrating it like a budgeting hack. The biological father lost 16 years he can never get back. The paying man lost money, time, identity, and consent. He never agreed to surrender, and the son lost his sense of self in one afternoon while she's still asking who's covering rent. She framed fatherhood like a salary tier, ran a long con on everyone involved, and now acts shocked that the truth detonated the arrangement
and said, I didn't do anything wrong. That's how disconnected these people are. That they don't even actually see that they did anything wrong.
The moment it stopped being profitable. At this point, the ending writes itself. Accountability means charges. Accountability means repayment. And accountability means understanding that when fraud funds your lifestyle, the correct resolution isn't sympathy. It's jail time and returning every dollar that was taken under false pretenses.
How can a man walk away from a child that he has been raising for 3, 5, 10, 15 years simply because the DNA test shows that he's not the biological father? Hear me out here. I'm not being insensitive. I know that his world has just been turned upside down. I know he feels betrayed. He's devastated. I empathize. I sympathize with his predicament. However, how is one able to walk away from a child that one has bonded with, loved, nurtured, poured blood and sweat into?
We do that with women. We do the exact same thing with relationships, and we walk away from them.
Simply because the DNA test shows that you're not the biological father. I understand getting rid of the wife or the girlfriend. The word I actually want to use starts with a W and rhymes with sure. Get rid of the W. But the children or the child, the innocent child, it is flummoxing to me.
She thinks she's delivering profound moral clarity, like she's some kind of emotional philosopher channeling divine truth, when really she's just confidently spewing relationship nonsense that would bankrupt any man with a conscience. She sits there all calm and self-righteous, asking how a man could dare walk away from a child he's raised for 10 years just because the DNA test said it's not his, as if biology, betrayal, and basic reality are just minor inconveniences to be politely ignored in favor of feelings. So this guy changed diapers, took them to school, paid for birthday parties with clowns he hated, listened to Baby Shark on loop until his soul gave out, and now he finds out the kid shares more genes with the Amazon delivery guy than with him, and somehow he's the villain for walking away. If a woman found out the baby she pushed out wasn't actually hers because of a hospital mix-up, the entire hospital would be sued into the ground. Oprah would do a special, and the nurse would vanish mysteriously. But when a guy finds out he's been duped into raising a child that isn't his, people like her pull out the tiny violin and start giving TED Talks on how love is more than DNA. If anyone's the villain here, it's not the guy who left after learning the truth. It's the people expecting him to keep living a lie just to make them feel better.
Yep.
Not only is the state forcing me to sell my 2024 BMW that I paid with cash. Not only are they forcing me to sell it unless I want to get cut off on all government assistance, they took my whole tax refund. Over $22,000 the government took.
$22,000 is your tax refund? What the?
They couldn't even leave me $100. And they are still telling me that I owe over $20,000 from over issuance. It is not my fault that they made a mistake. They gave me those benefits. They were mine. I used them. I should not have to pay them back. I shouldn't have to sell my BMW. That is my baby. I worked hard for that car.
You should have worked hard to pay your bills and feed yourself.
F you, government.
She's furious that consequences showed up like an uninvited guest, acting shocked that flexing luxury on government assistance has a return policy. This is what happens when delusion files its taxes. She treated welfare like an investor and the BMW like a business expense. Now she's crying because the system finally asked for receipts. The car wasn't success, it was symbolism, proof she wanted the image of independence without the responsibility. The government didn't betray her. It just ended her fantasy sponsorship. Watching her meltdown is like watching someone get evicted from denial. Loud, dramatic, and long overdue.
I've gotten a lot of questions on when I'm going to start dating. I don't think anybody's timeline is the same. Nobody's healing journey is the same. Whether you start dating a month after you get out of a relationship or 2 years, either way, it's your life, it's your journey. Only you know what's right for you. Now, when it comes to dating while pregnant, here's where it gets a little bit interesting. I've been single since January, and I do feel like I'm ready to start dating, but I think it's situational. I'm not on dating apps. I'm not out here looking for anything, and the only way for me to really explain it is if something good gets put into my path, I'm not gonna reject it. There's one thing I've learned about life, it's that you really cannot control a damn thing. So as of right now,
You can control not being pregnant.
kind of going with the flow. My guard is way up. My standards and expectations are real high. We will not accept the bare minimum. Ever. Never again. I also think that if a single mom decides to go on a date while she's pregnant, that does not mean that she's not prioritizing her child. That's the first thing that people like to bring up is like, oh, you're only worried about going on dates. Oh, you're only worried about going out. Oh, you're only worried about a man. That's not the case.
She's pregnant, talking about dating again like she's just casually re-entering the chat. Standards now sky high, expectations through the roof, guarding her peace like it's Fort Knox.
It is funny how women can get pregnant and have kids and all of a sudden their standards just go up higher when nothing else changed.
5 minutes ago, those standards were clearly in the basement if they let someone fumble the whole pregnancy before even earning long-term vetting. Now she wants a fresh man lined up before the baby's even born, before the womb cools off from the last guy. And the wildest part? She tries to make it sound empowering, like hopping from man to man while carrying another man's kid is some kind of glow-up.
So I've noticed lately that broke men are trying to convince single mothers that rich men don't want them. And the funniest thing about that to me is the reasons are usually like, oh, it's so much harder, it's going to be more expensive. They're looking at the children as obstacles. They're looking at these women as used goods. And here's the thing. Successful men don't base what they want off of how easy it is to get it. In fact, in my experience, when there's a bit of a challenge, it's more exciting for them.
Not when it comes to women, you dumbass.
They're not going to go with the easiest lay, right? They're going to go with someone that's interesting to them. And the qualities that make someone a good mother really makes them an interesting person and a really good partner, too.
No.
So, food for thought. These broke guys, dusty guys, really shitty guys are going to try to convince you that you're not worth as much because they're trying to get a baddie for a discount.
This whole fantasy that successful men are lining up for built-in chaos ignores how these guys actually think, because men who've earned money, leverage, and peace didn't do all that just to voluntarily sign up for a relationship where none of the authority matches the responsibility. Dating a woman with kids means inheriting rules without rights. You're expected to provide, protect, and emotionally invest, but the moment discipline comes up, you're reminded they're not your kids. The moment conflict hits, you're reminded you're replaceable. And if she leaves with the kids, the routines, the bond, and the leverage, because none of it was ever yours to begin with. Add a baby daddy orbiting the situation like a background app you can't uninstall. Plus the legal reality that children can be weaponized during breakups through custody drama, narratives, or even false allegations. And suddenly these relationships start looking less like love and more like an HR department with zero upside.
You know, it's like, we never knew what gaslighting was until someone started using that word all the time. Now I just see women talk, and the way they talk on the internet, I feel like it's just, everything is gaslighting. Everything, they're just trying to trick us to doing all these dumbass things because they're just better at gaslighting than we are, and we don't know what the hell's going on. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that, and see you guys next time. Ciao.